2024 really turned out to be a really solid year for bourbon. We've already talked about the most disappointing, but today we're going to talk about the best bourbons of 2024. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to Brad's Bourbon Reviews. I'm Brad, and today we're going to talk about the best bourbons of 2024. Now, before we get into this video, I got a few things to keep in mind here, and a few rules as to how this whole list came to be. First off, I have not tried every single bourbon or whiskey that was released in 2024. That's just not how it works. 2, it's my own personal opinion. 3, the rules for the list where I had to have tried the bottle for the first time in 2024 and owned the bottle for it to count in 2024. And number 4 is these are not ranked in this specific video. I'm going to do a blind bracket where I rank it and get my true opinions as unbiased as I can possibly be. So that's the only rules set for this list. Let's go ahead and dive into number 1 here. I don't know what's coming. I'm just going to grab one. What we got? All right, cool. This is a bottle that, honestly, if I was ranking the top 10 whiskeys of the year, I do think it's to the lower part of this list. This is the Wild Turkey Jimmy Russell 70th anniversary release. For $55, you get an 8-year Wild Turkey 101 proof bourbon. I mean, what are we doing, cuz? I mean, like, it's about as good as whiskey can get for the price point. Dare I say a really solid budget release from, and for Wild Turkey, this is a budget release. I mean, like, you see them releasing bottles that are $300, $400, $500. So $55 from Wild Turkey for something this age statement and that is this good is insane. I am actually surprised that I ranked this in the top 10 of the year, honestly, but I just keep finding myself going back to it, which means I really, really like it. Like, I have put like an actual substantial hit in this bottle. I love this thing. I think it's fantastic. I don't think it's the best of the year, but it has to be in the conversation for value, and it has to be in the conversation because it's something I just keep going back to. Let's move on to the next one. This one's tall. I think I know this is probably George C. Stagg. Yeah, it's a tall one. This is George C. Stagg, but this is not the 2024 release. This is the 2023 release. I got this in February of 2024, and I tried it for the first time. This batch for the first time. I had George C. Stagg before that, but I tried it for the first time in 2024. I love this thing. I've done a review of it already. It's root beer. It's cream soda. It's vanilla. It's barrel. This existed in a different bottle on the shelf, and it was just called something else, and it was this good. It was the actual juice. Take the label, take all that crap away from it, take the hype away from the BTAC and George C. Stagg and Buffalo Trace. Take all that away. Strip it down to what's actually in the bottle. You really kind of can't do better than this. It's absolutely unbelievable. Like, George C. Stagg is to me the best of the BTAC series. I know people love WLW, and I do as well, but if I didn't have a George C. Stagg and I didn't have a WLW, I don't have a WLW, but let's just, for argument's sake, say I don't have either one of these bottles, and I've tried both of them, I'm reaching for the GTS every time. That's just my own personal opinion. I like the darker notes. That's why George C. Stagg made top 10 of the year. Moving on to the next one. All right, back to seeing what we got here. Another one that I'm very surprised by, but I talked this up pretty highly when I did the review. I would put this bottle up against anything. I actually think I'm going to start blinding my friends with this bottle because it's so good. This is an Old Forester single barrel strength bourbon. This is the second time in a row I've had a bottle from Old Forester in the single barrel strength as bourbon of the year. But this one's better than the one that I had last year. This one is so good, man. This is a Corona cigar company. It's a cigar company, in Orlando, and this was a single barrel pick they did. And I'm telling you, I put this up against anything. It is 130 proof. It drinks like it's like maybe 100 proof. This thing is unbelievable. There is a tobacco note, which is ironic because it is a cigar company. I'm telling you, this thing's amazing. It's unbelievable. I am a little surprised that an Old Forester barrel proof ended up in the top 10 of the year, but that just goes to show you that single barrels vary quite a bit, and this one is awesome. So I would say buy one, but they're gone. But if you ever get the chance to come hang out with me, I'll let you try it. Moving on to the next one. All right. This is Conviction Virginia's Birthday Barrel, limited 6-year release. This is a bottle they sent to me to do a review of. It reviewed so well. I had just tried another bottle that is actually on this list back to back with this, and I said in that review that I think this one's better. I still stand by that. This thing's amazing. These are gone now, so if you try to reach out to Southern Grace Distilleries, the people who make Conviction bourbon, you will not get one of these. They are gone. This was a single barrel pick. It sold out really quickly after the video released. This thing is just insanely good for a 6-year. Comes in at 102.6 proof, and it is just, it's bonkers good. I had tried this with some friends the day the 7-year bourbon released, and they had not tried it yet, and they were curious because they saw the review and wanted to try it and blah, blah, blah. And we tried it, and they agreed with me that this one is actually better than the 7-year. So this is a special barrel from Conviction, and it's really good. I wish this was something that was just readily available so I could be like, just call them and tell them you want one, but these are gone. Virginia, I know you watch these videos. You made the top 10 of the year. That's awesome. Moving on to the next one. All right, up next we have a bottle from Buffalo Trace. This is Stagg 24B. This is my favorite Stagg release of this year. I've tried all of the batches so far. I've just found out recently there's a 24C that's floating around, so now I got to get my hands on one of those. But so far, as of the recording of this video, which is really close to the end of the year, this is my favorite Stagg of 2024. I don't even think it's close. I think this is like by far and away the best Stagg of this year. It is not my favorite Stagg of all time, but I think it deserves a place in the top 10 because Stagg is just really good stuff. Their batch products are just so good. 22B is still my favorite. If you're curious, that batch is absolutely incredible. So I think that is way better than this one for sure, but this one deserves to be in the top 10 because this thing is really solid. If you can get your hands on one of these, I highly recommend you do so. Moving on to the next one. All right. This is Russell's Reserve 15. This is the one that I think is going to be everyone's bourbon of the year. It made my list, and I am so thankful that I listened to my friends that said this bottle was good, and then I sought this thing out. I did not like Russell's Reserve 13 at all when I did the review. I remember doing a video like, this got announced, I don't care, and I'm not going to try to get one. I'm so glad I shut the fuck up and just did it anyway. This thing is so incredibly good. The age on this, man, like, I gotta have some. I gotta have some. I haven't had this in a while. I adore this bottle. The like chocolate note you get on this on the nose, that sweet oak, like you get that age. It's just awesome. Like, it is such a good bourbon. It is just, it's really, really special. This is a very special bottle. This is one of the few bottles, when you see Wild Turkey doing these crazy prices on these bottles, this is 100% justified. It's so good. I know $250 for a bottle is insane, but man, you are not going to regret having this thing on the shelf. Save this thing for a special occasion. Save it for Christmas. Save it for New Year's Eve. Save it for anniversary. Save it for whatever you need to do, but please get your hands on one of these. This is such a good bottle. This could be number one. This could sneak through and become number one of the year, and I wouldn't be mad about it because this thing's incredible. Let's move on to the next one. It's not a Brad's Bourbon Reviews video unless we mention Jack Daniels, and I have good news. Jack Daniels made the list this year. This is Jack Daniels 12-year batch 2. What can I say? The Jack Daniels 12 this year was just a lot better for me than the 10. It was a lot better for me than the 12 last year. I love this thing. I'm so glad that these are not like hundreds of dollars on the secondary. I'm glad that these are still like kind of around a little bit. I'm so happy that I found this. I got this at a Walmart. It was like $89. I'm so happy I got this. 107 proof for those who were curious. It's just perfect. Like, it's just so good. This is everything I love about Jack Daniels in a bottle. I don't know. Your hot take, all right? Hot take for me. I think the 12-2 is as good as the 10-2. I said it. It's just what it is. This thing's unbelievable. So if you can get your hands on a Jack Daniels 12 batch 2, I highly recommend you do so. Moving on to the next one. Another bottle here from Conviction. This one, to me, is one of my favorite bourbons I've ever had. This is Barrel 456. This is not a bottle that you will ever be able to taste. And that sounds so shitty. But the reason is they were able to yield, I think, 10 bottles out of this, and 6 are left unopened in the world. They didn't sell it. They were going to sell it. When they went to go yield the barrel, they realized there was a leak in the barrel or something, and it all leaked out except 10 bottles worth. I have friends who watch these videos that can attest to this. This thing is 119 proof. This thing drinks like a really good 90 proofer. This thing's amazing. It would not surprise me if this bottle took home bottle of the year. It really would not. I actually struggled, and I even talked to the distillery when I was getting bottles for this list, that I was like struggling with putting this on because it's a single barrel, but it's not just a single barrel. It's a single barrel that no one will ever be able to try unless you know me. Like, it's literally the truth. There's a few that exist that are in the hands of the owners, and then I have one. And so it was hard for me to put this on the list, but if I'm being completely fair with what I thought was the best bourbon of the year, and even for me all time, there's no way I could not include this bottle. And I could gush about this thing for like an hour, so I'm just going to move on to the next one. And we are back at Jack Daniels. This is how you know it's a Brad's Bourbon Reviews. 2 Jack Daniels entries, but I think anytime that you get a bottle of Coy Hill, you are allowed to throw it on the top of the list of the best bourbons of the year. Dude, I have 2 of these. This thing's incredible. The color, it's hard to tell because I do some color correction on these videos, but this thing is red. I don't know if you can see it if it comes through in the video. I don't know what they do. I don't know what magic Coy Hill is producing, but Jesus Christ, Jack Daniels from Coy Hill is just... I wish everything could be this good from Jack Daniels. As much as I love the 10 and the 12, I think this is arguably a little bit better. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that because I love the 10-2 so much. But I got to be honest. That's like the whole point of these videos is me being honest. This thing is just unbelievable. I love it so much. So I think this will do very, very well. It's pretty distinct though, so it might be hard for it not to do well just because I'll know exactly what this is just when I look at it in a glass. But it's so good, man. It's unbelievable. Moving on to the last one. Now remember, this is not number 1 of the year. This is just number 1 in this list of top 10 of the year. I haven't ranked these yet. These are in no particular order. So this is Russell's Reserve Single Rick House Camp Nelson B, matured on floor 6, coming in at 120.2 proof. If you asked me what my favorite bourbon of the year was, it would be a toss-up between this bottle and 456 from Conviction. That's why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it this year, because I actually want to know what I think is the best blind. But it's really hard not to say that this is the best bourbon of the year. In fact, I've been telling friends that this is bourbon of the year, but the more I think about it, like 456 is just unbelievable. So it goes without saying, if you can find one of these for retail around, I would pay up to like $4 or $4.50 for this, and I hate to admit that, but this one is just so good. And in fact, if you're a Patreon member, I'm going to be doing a video very shortly after this video where I blind all of the Camp Nelson releases and see which one's the best. I just adore this thing. I think it's insane. I think 2024 was the year of Wild Turkey, really just showing that they are at the top of their game right now. Like, they are just absolutely crushing it. I haven't had a thing from Wild Turkey this year that I didn't absolutely adore. And I think this is my, like, again, I know there's 3 Wild Turkey bottles in this list, but I think if you just ask me, what's your favorite bourbon of the year? I think it's this one. It's just so good. I'm telling you, everything I said about the Russell's 15 where it being expensive, I totally understand. Even more so with this one. Just pay it. You're not going to be bummed that you have this when it comes down to it. Once the sting of that transaction is gone, you'll be left with some bourbon that's really, really incredible. So that's the list. I guess we'll see what actually happens when I do the blind bracket. We'll see who comes out on top. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it very, very much. If you're so inclined, check out the Patreon in the description below. Also, while you're down there, leave a like and subscribe. Comment as well. Let me know what your favorite bourbon of 2024 was. I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, cheers. A big thank you to all the Patreon supporters you see on screen right now.